What up, YouTube? So the bad news, cracked my phone while I was out running today. Not good. First person to comment, you should have had a case. You don't win anything. But the good news, I'm keeping up with my goals for the new year. One of those was to have a 100-mile month. Last month I did 48 miles. This month I'm gonna try to do 50, and then just slowly as it warms up, work up to that 100-mile month. Today we did some street photography, but earlier in the day, I'll explain that to you in a second after I take a shower. All right, so like I said, this morning I got out, I made some street photos, and I've recorded some behind the scenes using the GoPro, and today I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm gonna narrate the behind the scenes, I'm gonna explain the photos as I'm capturing them, what I like, what I dislike about the pictures, and kind of just explain the whole street photography process. Now, if you are new to this channel, what I'm known for, the photography that I make, that I share on Instagram, the things that I do for work, I do a lot more with landscapes and with cityscapes and very colorful, attention-grabbing images. But deep down, I absolutely love street photography. I love Instagram accounts like Sam Alive. I love Instagram accounts like Visual Memories. I go there and look at the photos and think, these are absolutely incredible images. And it's a big challenge for me to get out to try to make photos that give me the same feelings as the photos that inspire me, especially being in Atlanta. A lot of the street photos that I look at, they're in New York, they're in Tokyo, they're in these giant cities. And Atlanta's a kind of big city, but it's nothing compared to those. So it's a fun challenge for me to go out to attempt this style of photography that I'm not as good at, not as comfortable at, and try to get better, and then bring you guys along to explain, my trials and tribulations, what's going right, what's going wrong, and hopefully you guys can take the things I talk about and apply them to yourself. So this morning I filmed like a mini intro, and then we get into the behind the scenes. So let's jump into that right now. YouTube, what is good? We are out here in downtown Atlanta, and today the weather conditions couldn't be more perfect. You guys know that I love to shoot in the rain, and today is gonna be epic. Here's the reason why I love street photography in the rain so much. It's just a completely different vibe. You got lights reflecting off the ground, you got people with umbrellas. It's just moody. So if this is your first video on the channel, here's how it works. 1, welcome. Glad you guys could be here. 2, I like to go out, I like to make photos for like an hour, hour and a half. But while I'm out shooting, I like to film with a GoPro on my head so you guys can get a first person look at how I'm making the photos. So let's stop wasting time in the intro. Let's jump into this GoPro mode now. So the camera that we are using today is a Nikon D810, and I'm using 35mm Sigma 1.4. Right now I'm walking up on my first photo of the day. I like this scene right here, and then this dude runs across the street right there, and I get it in the photo. This, I think, is one of my favorite shots of the day, but what could have improved it would be our subject being this person crossing the street, just moving up a little bit in the frame. I think if they were a little closer to that crosswalk, it'd be much more ideal. It would be a much more interesting photo just because you'd have a stronger midground, foreground, and background. As to right now, the subject, the guy crossing the street, he's just a little bit far out of the photo and kind of blends into everything. So off camera, I just took a photo of this scene right here. We have this police officer pulling somebody over, and then the Atlanta Flatiron building in the background. I love that building because it has this just classic street feel. It's very similar to the Flatiron building in New York. So when you're making street photos and incorporating that into the scene, you just get this like New York vibe even though you're in Atlanta. And these are 2 photos that I made. I had a good opportunity and I kind of messed up. The one on the left is a good subject. I like this person with the umbrella, and the scene on the right that I like a lot. So ideally, it would have been nice if I had just waited there for a little while and waited for someone to cross into the frame and fill that negative space in the bottom left corner. So ideally, if these 2 photos were combined into one, I think I would have one that I was very, very happy with. Too boring. There needs to be somebody crossing the street. One thing I had in mind today was a lot of like street activity in the photos. A lot of people with umbrellas, a lot of people crossing the street, a lot of activity, but we are talking about Atlanta here. Atlanta and activity do not go hand in hand. The city is always pretty dead So I haven't really seen anything that stands out to me, any photos that I'm really interested in making, but we're gonna keep trying. I'm going to a spot here because we got like so much cloud coverage over the city. I'm gonna shoot this cityscape that I've been wanting to get for a while with weather like this. So first off, I gotta apologize for that water droplet on the top of the camera. It is what it is, can't control it. We're headed down to this location to just shoot a very basic cityscape. I'm switching to my Nikon 14-24 right now. This is a photo I've kind of had in my head for a while. I've been waiting for like a rainy day like this where the street has a lot of contrast and there's, you know, like some clouds covering up part of the city. I wish there was more cloud cover. Right now I'm just trying to look for a good perspective. I'm just moving around, looking for different interesting ways to shoot it. And I think that's it. I'm about to leave and get one more from the top of these steps. It would be cool if I had a person to incorporate at the bottom of those steps. So here's the photo right here. You know, pretty straightforward. It's nothing, you know, crazy, blow your socks off, but I do like the contrast between the white sky and the really dark road with the white lines. I would just call it like a solid, you know, 3 out of 5 cityscape. Nothing blowing you away, but nothing that I'd say is really bad either. So like how that one came out. It's a cool black and white. So at this point, I'm kind of just winding down. I tried this photo crossing the street with these people crossing the street, but at this point, the sun started to kind of peek out again, and we were losing that, you know, moody, rainy vibe and getting that more just like messy after rain, you know, bright, glary vibe. So I called it a day, and that was it for street photography. Definitely not a bad morning. Like I said, there are a few things that I could have done differently that would have brought these photos from, you know, kind of like 3 out of 5 to maybe 4 out of 5s, like that one with the guy crossing the street. I really like that black and white, and even as it stands there, it's not a bad photo in my mind. I just wish I could have waited and maybe made that one slight change. Same thing with that scene of the Flatiron Building. I like that photo, but filling that gap, you know, adding something more interesting into the photo would have taken it to that next level. Same thing with that cityscape, honestly. You know, it was cool, like it wasn't bad by any means, but there needed to be something else happening to add another layer of interest to the photo. And that's the biggest challenge with street photography, is a lot of different puzzle pieces all have to fit together, and that's why I enjoy making these videos, and that's why I enjoy challenging myself with street photography. That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Do me a solid, hit that thumbs up if you did. Drop a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed this more like voiceover style. Like, I kind of like doing this whole voiceover thing because I think it adds more, what is it, like narration and story and the explanation to what's going on. So if you liked that, hit the thumbs up, drop a comment, let me know, and make sure you subscribe for more photography videos. Y'all are the best. Thank you for watching. See you next time.